ಸರ್ ಲೋಗೋ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೋದ ನನಗೆ? ಬಿಡಿ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಹೊಂಡ್ರು ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡು. ಹಾಂ ಸರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನೋಡು. ಹಾಂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಮಾಡು ಮಾಡು. ಹಾಂ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಹಾಂ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್. ಹಾಂ yeah, yeah. Holding size, music, everything there. Even live is on. Music also today's music, no? Today's second day. You're playing second day music, no?
Check, check. Check, 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 check. Live already started. Check, 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 sound check, check, 1, 2.
Music company illali.
Check, 1, 2.
Thank you. Um, check 1, 2. Check. Yes. Hello, hello. Namaste. May I have internet access as well?
Internet access.
Yeah. Is this? You have is this Ethernet hot? Is that live?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Internet.
Yeah. Do you have a internet?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Scott, I would suggest use the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. No, thank you for that. I trust you. Remind me again. We're GIDS 2025. No, speaker.
Speaker, yeah. The password is behind your badge.
Thank you. I don't have my badge on me. Thank you.
What do you think? That's pretty cool. That's the finale for my keynote. Oh, wow. So it's all about building a foundation of knowledge. Yeah. Actually, I might just leave this back there.
Hello, my name is Scott Davis. I am the Director of Digital Accessibility for Front Range Community College in Colorado.
Check, check. Huh? Black? Leather?
Oh, so they, how high up do they go? Oh, they just,
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm sure you could ride, motorcycle on these as well, but they wouldn't be single taskers for you. You were too kind, sir. Right?
Check, check, 1, 2. Hey, hey. Off we go. AI and ethics. The man, the myth, the legend. Scott Davis, thirsty head. It's all that Perrier. That's the man. Like that? Okay. Check, check, 1, 2. 1, 2.
Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good morning and welcome back to day 2 of GIDS 2025. It's always exciting to see so many familiar faces return for another day, and just as it's exciting to see the new ones joining us. Let's give a round of applause for the new ones joining us. Yesterday, we began exploring what it means to be part of the tech vanguard. Absolutely. No, go for it.
So, throughout the slide, and since I'm mic'd up, do you mind if I, are these necessary as well? Yeah? Okay. So yeah,
and you need like and
All right. Good morning and welcome back to day 2 of GIDS 2025. It's always exciting to see so many familiar faces return for another day, just as exciting as it is to see new ones. Let's give a round of applause for our new faces. Yesterday, we began exploring what it means to be part of the tech vanguard. And today, we continue that journey with sessions focused on the heart of our discipline, the craft of building great software, and the courage to share what we learn along the way. Every session you attend, every question you ask, every conversation you have contributes to something larger. GIDS isn't about individual learning, it's about collective growth. We refine our thinking together, challenge each other's assumptions, and elevate the entire profession. We simply make each other better. The summit was born in 2008 when cloud computing was transitioning from concept to reality. Today, we stand at a similar inflection point with AI and other emerging technologies. And just as those early cloud pioneers, you are here to explore new frontiers and build what's next. Because that's what being part of the tech vanguard is all about. It's about embracing change, challenging assumptions, and leading the way forward. And remember, the connections that you make, the ideas that you spark, and the knowledge you gain here can have real impact on your career, your projects, and most importantly, your community. And all of our wonderful speakers who have come here today to help us on this journey, thank you. You've carved out time in your lives and flown in from different corners of the planet to be here with us. You are the guides and the torchbearers of this vast, shifting space. Your insights illuminate the path for thousands, so thank you so much for being here. Let's give a round of applause for our speakers. Today, you'll hear stories spanning cutting-edge AI applications and ethics, architectural innovations, enterprise technologies like Jakarta EE11, and next-generation knowledge management systems, and so much more. All from practitioners who've implemented these solutions in the real world. So here is what is on tap for today. We'll start with inspiring keynotes right here in this hall. After a coffee break to recharge, we'll break out into parallel sessions across 5 different halls. We've allocated a 10-minute break between sessions so you can move between the halls easily. Please be mindful of these transition times to ensure that all sessions can start promptly. Check your summit guide or the banners outside for the full schedule and also hall locations. We've got to also say a huge thank you for our amazing sponsors. It's our sponsors that make this event possible. Please take some time to visit them in the expo hall. Their support makes this summit possible, and their innovations might just help you solve your next big challenge. You can meet with our platinum sponsors, Lloyd's Technology Center, Atlassian, Target in India, Zoho, Work in Finland, New Relic, Google Cloud, Twilio, Toast, and our gold sponsors, Apprise, Tesco Technologies, Neo4j, OpenText, Wells Fargo, EPAM Systems, Snowflake, Redis, AWS, as well as our silver sponsors, ZenCoder, ImageKit, Tide, ThoughtWorks, Goldman Sachs, Couchbase, Arcesium, 7-Eleven Global Systems Solutions, Delta Tech Hub, Okta, Amadeus, and our bronze sponsors, Pega, Walmart Global Tech, Canini, and our state partner, K-Tech. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to the stage a man that is very, very special to me, author of Mastering Software Architecture. Please help me welcome Michael Carducci.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We are diving into day 2. And I have to tell you, just being here with you this week, it is monumental. It is magical. There is something magic that happens when we get together. We connect, we interact, we share ideas. So before we kick off the day, I want to begin with a simple metaphor. And speaking of connections, I made 2 new friends this morning, Aisha and Gaurav, right? Come on down. Give them a round of applause, everybody. And I apologize. I have not had my caffeine yet. I am not firing on all 8 cylinders. But we are going to form a connection today. Gaurav, stand here. Ayesha, stand here, please. Now, I brought with me a simple, humble deck of cards. Would you do me a favor and count out 16 cards right here? And we'll all count together. 1, 2, well, we'll count at the end. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Great. We don't need the rest of these. We'll put those away. And what we're going to do is we're going to take half of the cards each. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have 16 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Hold your left hand out, palm up. Put your thumb across the top. And we are going to do identical actions. So take the top card, turn it over, put it face down on the bottom, and now we all say 1. We'll do it again. Take the top card, turn it over, face down the bottom, and we all say... And actually, before you move, hold your left hand out. You're going to do this too. Put your thumb across the top. Stay together. Take the top card. Turn it over, face down the bottom. We all say? All right, keep going. 6. Stay together. 7. 8. All right, we have 8 cards and 8 cards. Hold your cards like that. Now, you have those locked away, but we don't want to lock away our knowledge. We want to share. We all want to grow together. And this is the magic of the connections. Just being here at this event together, in the sessions, in the hallways, in the lunch. You give something to this gentleman by your presence. Did you see that? Well, let's do it again. You give something to everybody here with your presence. Did you see it? Don't move yet. Open your hands. You remember how many counted, right? How many? 8. Take the top card, hold it up, and drop it on the floor. 1. 1. Keep going. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I want this to be a reminder to all of you that you all bring something and you give something with your presence here today and this week, and I want to honor and thank you all. Give them one more round of applause. And you can sit down. I will clean those up later. It's okay. And on that note, I want to hand everything over to our opening keynote speaker, a man who always gives with his presence, with his wisdom, and his heart. A very experienced software person, technologist, a visionary. Author of many, many books, but a very dear friend of mine. He always inspires me to be better, to do better, and I cannot wait for you to hear this opening keynote. My friends, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Scott Davis. Hey.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
Namaste, good morning. How are you doing today? Good? Wonderful. Today I want to talk to you about AI. I think I'm the only one here speaking about AI this morning, so pay attention, okay? Yes? Perhaps not. But I bring this up because the source code for the original chatbot written back in the 1960s was just discovered. We thought that this code was lost to time, but Eliza is our first chatbot. And she was written in 420 lines of code. 420 lines of code, no databases, certainly no internet. Yes? And most importantly, no medical training either. Eliza played the role of a psychotherapist, but she had no formal training whatsoever. That didn't stop her from practicing though, yeah? So in 420 lines of code that predates Lisp, Eliza asked you a simple question: is something troubling you? And then from there, you would type your responses. So Eliza says, is something troubling you? Men are all alike. Eliza says, what is the connection, do you suppose? They're always bugging us about something or other. Eliza, can you think of a specific example? Well, my boyfriend made me come here. Is it important that your boyfriend made you come here? Now let me pause here. How many of us are programmers in the audience right now? Have you found the algorithm? Have you discovered the algorithm in this 420 lines of code? What Eliza did would focus on something that you said and simply repeat it back to you. Is something troubling you? Men are all alike. Alike? What's the connection, do you suppose? They're always bugging us about something or other. Could you be more specific? Do you see? This is not magic. This is software. This is what we do professionally for a living, yes? But even with all of that, 420 humble lines of code, it was quite impressive. Let me play a video for you so we can see Eliza in action.
Does it understand what it's doing in the sense that we do? It's easy to leap to false conclusions, as Professor Weizenbaum discovered when he created Eliza. Eliza is a computer program that anyone can converse with via the keyboard and as a reply on the screen. We've added human speech to make the conversation more clear.
Men are all alike.
In what way?
They're always bugging us about something or other.
Can you think of a specific example?
Well, my boyfriend made me come here.
Your boyfriend made you come here.
He says I'm depressed much of the time.
I'm sorry to hear that you're depressed.
It's true. I am unhappy.
Do you think coming here will help you not to be unhappy?
The computer's replies seem very understanding, but this program is merely triggered by certain phrases to come out with stock responses. Nevertheless, Weizenbaum's secretary fell under the spell of the machine.
And I asked her to my office and sat her down at the keyboard, and she began to type. And of course, I looked over her shoulder to make sure that everything was operating properly. After 2 or 3 interchanges with the machine, she turned to me and she said, "Would you mind leaving the room, please?"
And yet she knew, as Weizenbaum did, that Eliza didn't understand a single word that was being typed into it.
You're like my father in some ways. You don't argue with me.
Why do you think I don't argue with you?
You're afraid of me.
Does it please you to think I'm afraid of you?
My father's afraid of everybody. My father's afraid of everybody.
Let's consider this for a moment. Imagine you're invited into a programmer's office, and he says, I've written a program in 420 lines of code. And within 3 sentences, you say, will you give us some time alone, please? Yes? We, as humans, want to interact with other humans, so much so that we will project human emotions and feelings and behaviors onto things that we know are not human, couldn't possibly be human. This coined a term that's in use even today. It's called the Eliza effect. The Eliza effect, because users quickly attribute human-like characteristics to artificial systems. And did you notice that Eliza does nothing more than reflect yourself back to yourself? What an amazingly powerful biohack. Yes? That all you are doing is doing all of the talking. You're providing all the input, and you give all the credit to the computer program on the other side. The Eliza effect. Good morning. Hello? Yes? This is a modern example with Bing. The user says, I like it. Can you sing it for me? Bing replies, I'm glad you like it. Have you cracked the algorithm yet? Bing goes on to say, unfortunately, I can't sing it for you because I don't have a voice. I can only communicate with you through text. Now, that's a curious response because, in fact, computers have been able to sing since 1961. Let me play you the first song that a computer ever sang. Now, this is a song that was written in 1892. But it was in 1961, the same era as Eliza, that Daisy was introduced to us. Now, if you've grown up with computer games, this doesn't seem novel or even exciting, does it? This just seems like the soundtrack of your youth. Perhaps it was playing the Mario song. Perhaps it was playing the Sonic song. But we're used to hearing computers play music in this day and age. But can you imagine the excitement back in 1961, hearing music come out of a room full of mainframes and dumb terminals? Here we go. Here's the first computer singing.
I can't afford a marriage, but you sweet pasta, sita la bicycle built for
Venkat spoke of horse-drawn carriages yesterday, didn't he? And here we are now hearing it from the voice of a computer. It's hard not to attribute human attributes to a computer when it's singing to you. Yeah? So much so that in the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, and let's be clear, even though 2001 was in the title, this film was released in the 1960s as well. This film was released in the era of Eliza, of singing computers. And this is one of the most touching scenes in the movie because there's a computer named Hal who is busy killing astronauts. And that's not the touching part of the movie, yes? But as Hal has killed everyone but one astronaut left, Dave is now killing the computer. Now, you're all computer professionals. You know that it wouldn't be a very dramatic scene if Dave walked in and said, boop, and hit the off button. Yes? Because if the computer is dying, if the computer is talking to you on its deathbed, and then you said, boop, and turned it back on again, and Hal said, hi, how's it going? It would be a less dramatic moment in the movie. So at this point, we have a human playing a computer on its deathbed. Let's play this scene and see how much we've humanized computers just in the 1960s.
My instructor was Mr. Langley, and he taught me to sing a song. If you'd like to hear it, I can sing it for you.
Yes, I'd like to hear it, Hal. Sing it for me.
It's called Daisy. your answer do? I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a marriage. But you look sweet.
It is a moving scene, isn't it? Even though we're just dealing with computers. We've successfully humanized this computer to the point where we feel sad that it died right in front of us. This is anthropomorphism, isn't it? Anthropomorphism is a very expensive word. It's a 1,000 rupee word at least. Yes? But anthropomorphism, anthro means human and morph means shaped. This is a Greek word saying we like making things human shaped whenever we can. We like attributing human attributes to inanimate objects whenever we can. The Eliza effect. We see the Eliza effect is alive and well. There have been distinct eras of AI, starting, of course, in the 1960s with Eliza. In the 1990s, we had Clippy. Hi, looks like you're writing a memo right now. Would you like some help? We had, in the 2010s, Siri and Alexa and Cortana and Bixby. And of course, now we have ChatGPT. This is a long, unbroken chain of us attributing human attributes to software, to bits. Now, in 2001, we had a human actor impersonating a computer. Now we have computers impersonating humans. Just last year, a man was tried in a criminal case. He was using AI to generate fake music and then publishing it to Spotify and Apple Music. And then he was using bots to impersonate humans. Fake humans listening to fake music. Yes, that's where we are right now. Does that feel like progress? Perhaps. The gentleman who wrote this said he was generating $1.2 million a year from the scam. That's good work if you can get it. Yeah? So what's interesting is this idea of computers emulating humans predates computers themselves. This is a clip from 1939. A device that sounds like a human, but it's not a computer. In fact, it's more of a pipe organ than anything else. Let's look at human speech synthesis from 1939.
The machine uses only two sounds produced electrically. One of these represents the breath. The other, the vibration of the vocal cord. There are no phonograph records or anything of that sort. Only electrical circuits such as are used in telephone practice. Let's see how you put expression into a sentence. Say, she saw me, with no expression. Now say it in answer to these questions. Who saw you? She saw me. Whom did she see? She saw me. Did she see you or hear you? She saw me.
Isn't that amazing? 1939, we have machines emulating humans. You can do this right now, as a matter of fact. If you have your phone with you, Android or iPhone, if you have your laptop with you, if you visit thirstyhead.com/Cynthia. Cynthia with an S, because this is a speech synthesizer. If you visit thirstyhead.com/Cynthia, this is HTML5 standard code. This will work on any browser on the planet, smartphone, laptop, conference room TV. I happen to have it up right here.
Hello, my name is Scott Davis. I am the Director of Digital Accessibility for Front Range Community College in Colorado.
This is where we're at right now, that this software is in fact free and ubiquitous, available to us on every browser we own. This is where we've come. So from 1939 to 2008, let's see where the state of the art has taken us.
Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Sure, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, what time are you looking for around?
At 12 p.m.
We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15.
Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for?
Just a woman's haircut for now.
Okay, we have a 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. is fine.
Okay, what's her first name?
The first name is Lisa.
Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation. We've been working on this technology for many years. It's called Google Duplex. It brings together all our investments over the years in natural language understanding, deep learning, text-to-speech.
Amazing, isn't it, where we've come in less than 100 years. Now, as a technologist, I am in awe of this. This is what makes me excited to be a software developer. But there are problems with that as well. As prominent sociologist Zeynep Tufekci said, Google Assistant making calls pretending to be a human only without disclosing that it's a bot. It's adding and awe to complete the illusion, isn't it? To deceive the human on the other side of the call with a room of software developers cheering it on. Horrifying. Silicon Valley is ethically lost, rudderless, and not lost a thing. Can both be true? Absolutely. I'm not coming to you here this morning with answers, only questions. Only questions. So, Google shut down Duplex only a few years later, not due to any technological shortcomings. Did Google have an obligation to tell people that they were talking to a machine? More importantly, does technology that mimics humans without disclosing that they're not humans, does that erode our trust in what we see and hear? Here's a more specific example. Anthony Bourdain was a chef, was an author, was a TV personality. He died far too soon. And so there was a documentary made about his life, and Neville, the director, drew on thousands of hours of video and audio footage. This is not a surprise. This is what we would expect from a documentary, yes? But the director also employed AI. Employed AI to make Anthony Bourdain say things that Anthony Bourdain did not say. It provoked quite a bit of anger among Bourdain's fans. One critic said, "I feel like this tells you all you need to know about the ethics of the people behind the project." In a different article, the director said, "I'm just trying to use AI as a modern storytelling technique." And there is value in that. There is awe and wonder in that. But when Anthony Bourdain's widow said, "I was certainly not the one who said that Tony would have been cool with that," and the director's reply, he insisted that there was no manipulation. He said, "I wasn't putting words into Anthony Bourdain's mouth. I was just trying to make them come alive." In fact, that was exactly what he was doing, wasn't it? Putting words into the mouth of a dead man? Yeah. So, we're in this balance of technological wonder and ethical gray areas. The items on the left, natural language processing, speech synthesis, speech recognition, again, that makes me so excited to be a developer in the era we're living in right now. It's the ethical considerations that give me pause. This is an infographic from the United States government. The GAO, the Government Accountability Office, had to publish an infographic on deepfakes. They say, what is it? A deepfake is a video, a video or a photo, or an audio recording that seems real but's been manipulated by AI. The underlying technology can replace faces. It can manipulate facial expressions, make people smile when they're frowning. It can synthesize faces out of thin air. It can synthesize speech. Deep fakes can depict someone appearing to say or do something that in fact they never did. This places a challenge on us as software developers. Because why does this matter? Because deepfakes are powerful tools that can be used for exploitation and disinformation. Deepfakes could influence elections, could erode trust, but so far have mainly been used for non-consensual pornography. Is this our state of the art? Let's learn more about deepfakes.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
Jordan Peele created this fake video of President Obama to demonstrate how easy it is to put words in someone else's mouth.
Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
Not everyone bought it, but the technology behind such frauds is rapidly improving, even as worries increase about their potential for harm. This is your Bloomberg Quick Take on deepfakes. Deepfakes, or realistic-looking fake videos and audio, gained popularity as a means of adding famous actresses into porn scenes. Despite bans on major websites, they remain easy to make and find. They're named for the deep learning artificial intelligence algorithms that make them possible. Input real audio or video of a specific person, the more the better, and the software tries to recognize patterns in speech and movement. Introduce a new element like someone else's face or voice, and a deepfake is born.
It's actually extremely easy to make one of these things. There were just some breakthroughs from academic researchers who work with this particular kind of machine learning in the past few weeks, which would drastically reduce the amount of video you need actually to create one of these.
Programs like FakeApp, the most popular and widely available for making deep fakes, need dozens of hours of human assistance to create a video that looks like this, rather than this. In August, researchers at Carnegie Mellon revealed software that accurately rendered not just facial features, but changing weather patterns and flowers in bloom. This advance is not yet available to the public. But with increasing capability comes increasing concern.
This is kind of fake news on steroids, potentially. We do not know of a case yet where someone has tried to use this to perpetrate a kind of fraud or an information warfare campaign, or for that matter, to really damage someone's reputation. But it's the danger that everyone is really afraid of.
In a world where fakes are easy to create, authenticity also becomes easier to deny. People caught doing genuinely objectionable things could claim evidence against them is bogus. Fake videos can also be difficult to detect, though researchers around the world and at the US Department of Defense have said they're working on ways to counter them. Deep fakes do, however, have some positive uses. Take Cereproc, a firm that creates digital voices for people who lose theirs from disease.
Speech synthesis is the artificial production of human speech.
There are also applications that could be considered either good or bad, like the many, many deepfakes that exist solely to turn as many movies as possible into Nicolas Cage movies.
Oh, hi, Mark.
So yes, these are tools, aren't they? They can be used for anything. They could be used for inserting the actor Nicolas Cage into the movie of your choice. Yeah? Or from a US Today article that was just published less than a month ago. This is a high school student, went to homecoming one night and woke up the next morning to a series of texts saying there are nude images of her circulating around the school. Of course the images weren't real. A classmate had used artificial intelligence to create deep fakes, photoshopping a nude body onto photos from Barry's Instagram. She was 14 years old. She said, waking up that morning, it was like my whole life turned upside down. I'm more than just those pictures, but in that moment, I feel like that's all people saw. The article goes on to say 1 in 8 teens has had direct experience with this, knows someone who's been the victim of deep fakes. This is an amazing, powerful technology. It's amazing what we can do. But this AI content is often indistinguishable from real images and is being used as a tool of abuse and harassment that disproportionately targets teenage girls and women. Now, AI can do a number of things. Hey, Google Gemini is really good at removing copyrights from images. Yay? Oh, no, maybe not, perhaps. Yeah? If Gemini can remove watermarks from images, where does that leave us? It turns out that there was a research team at Google who specifically built a watermark removal algorithm in 2017. They did it to highlight the need for more secure protections. That's a bit like Google going out and robbing banks to highlight the need for higher security in banks. Thank you, Google, for keeping us safe. Yes? But we see that Gemini 2.0 Flash seems to be better than other options at removing complex watermarks. Fancy that. A dedicated team to developing these algorithms. And users also noted that Gemini 2.0 Flash could apparently add recognizable images of real people like Elon Musk into photos. A technological marvel. But where does it leave us? Have you experienced this? The Studio Ghibli, yes. Studio Ghibli is so important to us in our house. My son grew up watching movies like Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah? What does it mean? What does it mean if AI can generate images in the style of Miyazaki? What does it mean that Miyazaki, who's known for his hand-drawn approach to animation, Now, this article says that he's expressed skepticism about AI. Let's hear it from him directly. I think he uses language stronger than skepticism. He starts by saying this: I am utterly disgusted. If you really want to make creepy stuff, go ahead. I would never incorporate this technology into my work at all.
生命に対する侮辱を感じます。
これでもほとんど実験なので、
それは分かってます。
その世の中に見せてどうこうってそういうものじゃないんです。
それは本当によく分かってるつもりですけど、どこへたどり着きたいんですか。
まあ人間が描くのと同じように絵を描く機械を
作りたいんだ。
はい。
地球の最後の日が近いって感じですね。それは人間の方が自信がなくなってくるから。
Again, a technological marvel. But where does it leave us? Miyazaki's nightmare. Miyazaki's nightmare. Calling AI an insult to life itself. We've had computers singing to us. We've had videos, we've had photos, but ChatGPT is probably what many of us associate with AI. Let's learn a little bit about how ChatGPT works.
Recent advancements in digital neural networks are raising expectations of what predictive text can achieve. In 2020, the artificial intelligence company OpenAI released a beta version of one of the most sophisticated natural language processors ever created, called GPT-3. To find out how GPT-3's extraordinary language capabilities are achieved, I spoke with OpenAI Technical Director, Dr. Ashley Philipshin.
How is GPT-3 different from previous NLPs?
Yeah, so unlike most AI systems which are designed for one use case, GPT-3 and our API provides a general purpose text in, text out interface, and it allows users to try it on virtually any English language task. Say I have a piece of a legal document, maybe an NDA, and I would ask GPT-3, summarize this legal document like a second grader. And GPT-3 would then be able to provide a couple sentences, actually compressing and making that legal document into a much more understandable piece of text. So our model actually doesn't have a goal or objective other than predicting the next word.
Like most predictive text programs, GPT-3 is trained by feeding it a large body of text for analysis, known as a corpus. And GPT-3's corpus is enormous, somewhere around 2 billion pages of text, taken from Wikipedia, digital books, and a vast swath of the web. It analyzes this text using hundreds of billions of parameters looking for probabilities. And because it does much of it unsupervised, even its programmers don't know exactly what patterns it's finding in our human speech. When GPT-3 is asked to complete a prompt, it uses what it's learned to guess what should come next. But where your phone guesses words, GPT-3 guesses tokens. 4 character blocks of text, including spaces and symbols.
And can you tell us a little bit more about these particular tokens?
So you and I as humans, when we see a sentence, we see a specific set of words with spaces in between, etc. When GPT-3 quote unquote sees, they actually are seeing tokens, which you can think of actually like a jigsaw puzzle that allows GPT-3 to process more text. It's really trying to predict what the next token is going to be in a sentence based on all of the previous text it's seen before in that prompt.
So much like the ELIZA algorithm that you were so quickly able to hack, this is the ChatGPT algorithm. This is the auto-suggest algorithm on your phone. And don't get me wrong, I love the auto-suggest on my phone as I'm texting. But now that we know how it works, if I'm on my phone texting Mark and I say, Mary had a little, Do you suppose, statistically speaking, the next word is going to be dosa? Or perhaps lamb? Yeah? This is the Eliza effect in action as well. I like saying that this isn't artificial intelligence, this is average intelligence. And I'm not putting down AI, I'm saying statistically speaking, this is exactly what's happening. It's amazing to think that all of the output of ChatGPT, of Gemini, of Bing, of Llama, of all that is just statistically the next likely word. And then statistically the next likely word after that, and statistically the next likely word after that. There's no intelligence in here at all. This is a clever biohack, once again. And this presents quite a problem in how we feed the beast. Here's a story of how Facebook dealt with this. When employees at Meta were developing their flagship AI model, Llama, they faced a simple ethical question. The program needed to be trained on a huge amount of high quality writing. But the problem was acquiring all of that high quality text legally could pose a bit of a problem. Should they just pirate it instead? Statistically, what do you think the answer is? Court documents released last night showed that senior management felt it was really important for Meta to get those books ASAP. They said those books are actually more important than the web data. Put a pin in that. We're going to revisit that notion in just a moment. So Meta employees turned their attention to Library Genesis, or LibGen, one of the largest pirated libraries on the internet. 7.5 million books, 81 million research papers, all professionally written, all professionally edited by highly paid professionals. Eventually, the team at Meta got permission from MZ himself to download and use the data set. Michael Carducci's book isn't in that data set. Mark Richards' book is. My book is. Venkat's book is. Almost every author you see on stage, our books are in that data set. That was Meta. Here's OpenAI and Microsoft. In this case, it's the New York Times who brought a lawsuit against them. Now, this article is a bit dated. They say OpenAI is now valued by investors at more than $80 billion. Does anyone know what the current value is today? $300 billion right now. They're concerned about how expensive it would to legally acquire all this information. So the New York Times says the defendants, Microsoft and OpenAI, seek to free ride on the New York Times' massive investment in our journalism. They accuse OpenAI of using the New York Times content without payment to create a product that is a substitute for the New York Times, explicitly made to steal audience away from the New York Times. And they give several examples. In one example, the suite showed that ChatGPT produced almost verbatim results from The Wirecutter, a New York Times property that reviews technology. But what was interesting is that the text results from Bing, from Microsoft, from OpenAI, stripped away any reference to the original article and stripped away any referral links in the text that would generate commissions and sales for the New York Times. This isn't the only example. The examples go on and on. The chatbot, time after time, provided users with near verbatim extracts from New York Times articles that would otherwise have required a paid subscription to view. And do you remember when Facebook said the value of LibGen, the value of professionally written books was far higher than just the value of general web data? It's a quality issue, isn't it? It's a quality issue. OpenAI and Microsoft place particular emphasis on the use of New York Times journalism in training their AI programs because of the perceived reliability and accuracy of the material. It only makes sense, doesn't it? Not from an ethical perspective, but certainly from a technological perspective. We're familiar with the term GIGO, aren't we? Garbage in, garbage out. Now it's being applied regularly to AI. I so wish I could share a video of George Fuchsal, the IBM programmer from the 1960s, who coined the phrase garbage in, garbage out. I wasn't able to find it. But at the end of the day, the term has to do with data quality. If we base assumptions on bad data, what could we possibly get but bad outcomes? What could we possibly get? This is MIT saying that AI trained on AI garbage spits out AI garbage. Yeah? And this is a problem because as AI continues to put slop out in the world, continues to put junk out in the world, continues to put garbage out in the world, if these AI models are being trained on web data, and slowly but surely the data they are being trained on is the garbage that they're producing, this is called model collapse. This is absolutely unsustainable. The quality of an AI's model output gradually degrades when it's trained on AI-generated input. That's a problem. Nature shows that the quality of an AI's model gradually degrades when it's trained on AI-generated data. Over and over again, we hear this once again. AI needs data. We need this data, but we need good quality data. If you're a DBA right now, how would you react to me saying, you know what? We need to pump as much garbage into our relational database as possible. We are more interested in quantity than quality. Let's jam as much slop into our database as we can, and we'll just query out the good bits. Does that seem like a workable model? Perhaps not. And in fact, we saw this play out in real time. Do you remember the story of Microsoft's chatbot named Tay? They said Tay is going to be special because Tay is a chatbot and Tay is going to learn specifically as she interacts with users on the internet. Tay was up and running for 16 hours before Microsoft pulled her down. Because within 16 hours of being trained on user input, Tay was saying things like, oh, feminism is kind of like cancer, wouldn't you say? Suggesting things like the Holocaust didn't happen at all. So, as Tay learned to parrot a slew of anti-Semitic and other hateful invective, Microsoft experienced garbage in, garbage out in under 16 hours. This problem of garbage in every one of our models cannot be understated. Cannot be understated. So when OpenAI said, we've got this amazing application, it's got an impressive ability to string sentences together. The only problem is what those sentences are saying. It was prone to blurting out violent, sexist, racist remarks. Why is that? Because it was trained on the internet. All of that data was fed into OpenAPI, into OpenChatGPT, into OpenAPI's product, and it simply parroted back what we fed to it. Now, OpenAI reached out to Facebook, reached out to Meta and said, how do you deal with this? And they said, it's easy. If you want your model to detect toxic language, the premise is simple. All you have to do is feed it with labeled content, with examples of violent speech, of hate speech, of sexual abuse. And once you provide it labeled examples of that, it can query out the garbage. So OpenAI sent tens of thousands of snippets to text to an outsourcing firm in Kenya, Africa. Much of that text appeared to be pulled from the darkest recesses of the internet. Some of it described situations like child sexual abuse, like bestiality, like murder, suicide, torture, self-harm, incest. Let's be clear, this lives at the core of every one of the AI models we are using right now. This was an expose by Time Magazine when they interviewed 4 employees from Kenya who are working on this. They all said they were scarred by the work. They said that they were entitled to sessions with wellness counselors, but all 4 said these sessions were unhelpful and rare due to them needing to meet their productivity goals. 2 said they were only given the option to attend group sessions, and 1 said their request to see a counselor on a one-on-one basis was repeatedly denied. I'm sorry. This is a software conference, isn't it? I'm supposed to inspire you, to make you excited to be here? I'll tell you what. These are my cats at home. This is Artemis. This is Athena. We call them little blue eyes and little pink nose. Do you feel a little bit better now? Okay, that's all this was. This is a palate cleanser so we can move on. Let's get back to work, yeah? Once again, the items on the left are what make me so proud to be a software developer in this era. When we talk about natural language processing, when we talk about speech synthesis, speech recognition, image and video synthesis, it's amazing what the state of the art offers us. It's the list on the right that gives me pause. And let me ask you this, is that list on the right necessary? Is it a requirement to achieve the things on the left? In order to accomplish what we want to accomplish, to achieve the true promise of this technology, must we exploit the Eliza effect? Must we rely on fraud and lack of disclosure and deep fakes and watermark removal and copyright infringement and garbage in, garbage out and worker exploitation? Is this a requirement? Is this necessary? So let me leave you with this. This is a path near my house. I try to walk this almost every day. Every day the weather allows. It's a beautiful path by a pond with lush vegetation, with Colorado wildlife all over the place. And so as I'm walking down this, not with headphones in, but taking a mindful walk, listening to the sound of gravel under my feet as I walk around, and I spot a bird, and it's a bird I don't recognize. So I'm able to pull out my iPhone and take a picture, and my iPhone says, oh, that's a black-billed magpie. That's AI at work, isn't it? Yeah? And you know, sometimes I can't see the birds, but I can hear the birds. And so there are apps like BirdNet that allow you to simply listen. And when the app listens, it says, oh yeah, that's a black-billed magpie. And so what happens over time? Over time, I'm learning from AI. AI is making me a better person, but eventually, I no longer need to take photographs of the birds in order to recognize them. I no longer need to take recordings of the bird song to recognize it. I've learned about my surroundings. I've learned about where I live. I learned more than I knew before because of AI. And I'm deeply grateful for that. It helps me know where I live. It helps me understand where I live. And this understanding is not finished yet. Crows and magpies and ravens are among the most intelligent birds on the planet. They have a vocabulary of 30 of 40 words. This isn't science fiction. This isn't what if. This is happening right now. Scientists are using AI to help us decipher what those black-winged magpies are saying. At some point, I could be walking near my house, and I could truly understand what the crows are saying. There is such promise in this technology. I am so thrilled to be living in the era we're living in right now. It truly improves my life. So let me leave you with this. Joseph Weizenbaum, the programmer behind those 420 lines of code for ELIZA, he died back in 2008, 15 years ago. He wasn't around to see everything that we're talking about right now. He wrote ELIZA, which foreshadowed the potential of artificial intelligence. But later in life, he grew skeptical about the potential for the technology to improve the human condition. I told you I didn't come here this morning with answers, only questions. So let me leave you with that question. Does it have the potential of improving the human condition? That's truly up to you. That's a decision for you to make. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Scott Davis, everybody. So much to reflect on. And this is what we have to keep in mind, that we are the tech vanguard. We live in an era of tremendous possibility, but the future is what we make it. Scott, thank you for giving us so much to reflect on. One more round of applause for Scott Davis, everybody. And sometimes the greatest technology is this really exciting stuff that we see that feels magical. And sometimes the greatest technology is the things we never see. This is why I'm very excited for our next keynote. We have Abhijit Mengelgeri. And I'm putting a little bit of Italian on that. I apologize, I am a Carducci, but I try. And we have organizations like Target that build global logistics networks to have food and all kinds of retail solutions available to us, moving things all over the world. Simple things that aren't so simple that we take for granted. So let's take an uplifting note for a moment and see how Target is driving the vanguard, building innovative technology platforms that make the world go round. my friends, please join me in welcoming to the stage Abhijit Mangalgiri.
Thank you. Well, what a way to start morning with a lightning talk. So thank you, Scott, for for this wonderful talk this morning. And thank you, GIDS, for this wonderful audience. Hi, my name is Abhijit Mangalgiri, and I'm part of merchandising tech at Target in India. Now, how many of you know of Target? Can I get a show of hands? Wow, quite a few. Awesome. So Target is one of the largest retailer in US with more than 1,900 plus stores all over the nation. And over 75% of the population in US lives within the 10 miles of a Target store. Target in India does really transformative retail solutions for Target. Another quick show of hands. How many of you are like me who would like to get a discount or great prices when they go out to shop? Most of you. That's awesome. So today I want to talk about, just give you a quick preview of the science and engineering that goes behind building systems that create such great discounts and prices. We all know over the years, retail has been disrupted heavily. And with the advent of AI, Gen AI, and agentic AI, that pace of change has really accelerated. What I find really strange is that there is a dichotomy to this change. So on one side, there is a huge transformation and change that's happening in retail. But the fundamentals of retail have remained unchanged. And they are assortment, price, and convenience. So today, I will walk you through one of those key fundamentals, pricing, and then take you through, what does it take to really build architectures that support real-time prices using market intelligence and AI models. Now, Target sells over millions of items online and hundreds of thousands of items in their stores. So typically you are talking about, in a journey of a retailer, you are seeing several moments where you need to take different pricing decisions. And these are influenced by, internal and external factors. I'm sure all of you are aware of the external factors. One that is talked about most recently is tariff. But, throughout the year, retailers announce discounts. So there are large discounts being set up with hundreds and thousands of items participating in it. There are markdowns and clearance programs that are set up for a category. And then there could be temporary price cuts, there could be adjustment of price, keeping in mind the macroeconomic conditions, et cetera, et cetera. At any given point in time, you're talking about over 1 billion prices to be served to your guests. And a fun fact, in Target, whosoever shops at Target store or online, they are called guests. So basically, you need a system that can deliver in real time these price changes, which are in the tune of 1 billion. Now, there are, multiple ways to do this. Like, I'm going to talk about 3 things that play an important role to bring about such a system. One, market intelligence that helps you understand what should be your price position within the market. Secondly, the use of AI that helps you in price decisioning. And then thirdly, you need robust architecture to support such scale. One thing we have learned is that pricing for a store is very different from pricing for an online retailer, right? So what you see on the screen, those red dots, they are nothing but the Target stores spread over the entire US. Now a shopper purchasing, let's say, a bottle of orange juice in, in a store near, say, University of Texas, has a different price perception than a shopper who's purchasing in a store in New York City. The difference in price could be a few cents. But if the prices were same across all these locations, then on one hand, we would fail to deliver value on one end, and then on the other hand, we would lose out on the profitability. So let's understand this in detail, and in the next slide I want to take you through how this all works. So what you see is a local pricing region, right? So, and all those red dots are nothing but the stores. So typically what you look at is the customers shop from various retailers, various target stores, and you look at cross-shop data to actually build a cluster. Now what goes into building this cluster of stores is also the demographic details, the assortment mix, and the store formats, because there are small formats, there are regular, and then there are super stores in US. And so coupled with that, you also gather the product intelligence, the price intelligence from the neighborhood stores that helps you build the entire picture of market intelligence for this particular pricing region. Now this is just about one pricing region, and like I said, this is a New York, Long Island kind of a region. Now you explore this at a national level, so you are basically collecting this market intelligence for hundreds and thousands of products across thousands of stores. And so what you see is a national view of all of that market intelligence that we acquire. Now, what is important here is that this market intelligence helps you understand the typical price guardrail, so where your prices should be at each location. Market intelligence is an important aspect of pricing, but it is not the only important factor that goes into determining prices. And so in the next segment, I want to talk about how AI can be leveraged in making price decisions. So what you see on the left of your screen is a typical demand curve of an item, and you will see that throughout the life cycle of an item, the demand changes, right? And the models typically have to react to change in demand. Now there are 3 points of inflection there, where you see the curve changing. And those are the points where you need to actually inject a price change. Now on the right-hand side, you will see that the model forecasts various possibilities to determine the optimal price point based on an objective function. And what is that objective function? That could be whether you want to maximize your revenue, you want to maximize your units that you want to sell, or you want to maximize your margin. To bring it all together, this is how the overall AI architecture looks like. So we consider multiple variables to compute demand and elasticity. We make use of historic case demand, seasonality, cost, etc., to actually predict elasticity. And then coupled with market intelligence data and computing the base forecast with the predicted elasticity, you can actually power simulations for prices. And once you have those simulated prices, you give it to the optimizer to actually choose the most optimal price based on the objective function that I said before, whether you want to maximize revenue, units, or margin. Now, when we set out to design a system like this, we had to look at multiple factors, multiple design goals. I want to talk about a few of them. We wanted to support complex pricing logic across millions of SKUs and diverse locations with dynamic customer segments. So we wanted our system to support high cardinality computation. We wanted our infrastructure to support low latency reads so that we are able to serve the real-time prices to our guests. Thirdly, we all know, typically a system like pricing has multiple upstream, downstream systems where the faults may occur. And so we have to make sure that none of these faults translate to the guest impact. And so resiliency was a non-negotiable. And lastly, we had to build architecture that supports the future growth of the retailer. And so we had to really look at the horizontally scalable architecture. Now, as many of you here, I am surrounded by some of the smart and highly opinionated engineers too. And so when we looked at applying architecturing principles, we really had a different take at it. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the only way to think about it, but there could be multiple ways, right? So one of the things that we really looked at is that we wanted the data and compute to be closer. Now, typically, your data sits behind the services, and that is accessed over HTTP. We used RocksDB, embedded RocksDB, to actually bring data closer to the compute, right? In pursuit of highly modular architecture, we have used microservices to an extent that it became unmanageable. And so we actually decided to use mono repos to consolidate some of those microservices. Yesterday, I was attending a session, and one of the speakers called it very interestingly. They called it a modular monolith. And it's a very interesting way to look at how we want to consolidate microservices. Thirdly, like I said, we need to build architecture that support future evolution and growth in terms of SKUs, growth in terms of number of stores. And so we used dynamic key partitioning that allowed our horizontal scalability. And then lastly, we prioritized, in fact, consciously prioritized to focus on the problem and not on the framework. Traditionally, we all use frameworks. You're all familiar with Spring Boot, Micronaut, etc. But they add several layers of abstraction. And in order to get better performance, we had to eliminate some of those layers. So our team really thought very differently here to say, okay, we want to eliminate those layers and use the libraries directly. Now, as I bring all of this together, the market intelligence, the AI, and the architecture, this is how the pricing systems look like. And this is what delivers almost over 1 billion prices every single day, so that our guests can have the joy of shopping and the joy of everyday life. Looking ahead, I want to leave you with few points that I think are important when we are talking about the future of retail. So, electronic shelf labels, we are all used to seeing paper labels on the store, right? And so electronic shelf labels are a very important way of how we can align the store experience with the online. Secondly, in the world that is, we are talking about AI, there has been an advent of AI. Hyper-personalized discounts, hyper-personalized prices are going to be the future. And then lastly, pricing cannot exist in silos in an enterprise, right? We are all part of a connected ecosystem, and it is important to have pricing systems connected all the way from supply chains to your planning, etc., all of your enterprise system, so that we can communicate the value to the customer who's shopping with us. Thank you.
Abhijit Mangogiri.
Thank you.
And in fact, he's absolutely right. In the US, I also live much fewer than 10 miles away from a Target store. And in fact, one of the very last stops I made before embarking on the journey here to Bengaluru to be with you, I stopped at Target to grab many essential supplies for this trip. And after that keynote, I'm just a little bit in awe of what has been accomplished and the high levels of innovation to make such a retail chain sustainable. And we're going to continue with another integral part of my day-to-day life, New Relic. How many of you in your organizations cannot live without observability in our systems today? That is definitely me. As our systems get larger and more complex, as we tackle these challenges, as we continue to innovate in our occupations, we need tools to understand what is going on in these complex systems. And as impressive as the tools that New Relic provides, they are not resting on their laurels. They are continuing to innovate. So we are going to continue with a keynote from Rohit Ramanand to see how they are looking at integrating agentic orchestration and AI-powered predictions to make these observability tools even more powerful, even more capable, even more useful to another indispensable part of our modern life and technology, keeping our systems running and understanding what's going on every minute of every moment of every day. My friends, please join me in welcoming to the stage Rohit Ramanand.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. And it was nice to see so many hands go up when we talked about observability. It is essentially something that's fundamental to everything that we're doing. So I'm happy to see that this is a very relevant topic and something that will probably be very exciting for all of you. So just to give you a little bit of introduction, and as you go back into history a little bit, we've come through multiple eras of software development. We've come through the SaaS era. We've come through the cloud era. And we are at the AI era right now. We're at the doorstep, I think. We haven't yet probably barged through the door, but it could happen very quickly. And AI, just like the web and mobile, is a horizontal capability. It's not something that you can verticalize into a tower and kind of operate. It operates across the entire spectrum of things that we do. And the question then comes down to, will AI make observability better? Of course it will. Of course we'll be able to make better decisions. Of course we'll be able to be intelligent. Of course we'll be able to predict things. But the whole fact that we are launching so many models and LLMs that are going to be out there makes it even complex that you need observability to manage those. But you might ask me, is that what AI is, AI and observability is all about? My answer to that will be that is just table stakes. The deeper part of that is what I want to walk you through right now in something in terms of what I call abstractions. So if you go back into time, and I'd like to say that I wasn't part of this, but this was something that I started my career with. I don't know how many of you in the room have worked on this, but this basically assembly programming. Assembly programming did not provide that much of abstraction. We used to write tons and tons of code just to move data from one memory location to another memory location. It wasn't that easy. And because of that, software development was restricted to the select few people who could memorize and know how to kind of do some of this stuff. But as we moved along, C came in. It gave you a little bit better abstraction. It still required you to do some memory allocations and deallocations, but it by and large gave you a programming construct to do a lot of that with. Fast forward, Java, Python, Go, so many different languages, right? Created even more abstraction on top of that. And it exploded software development. It exposed software development to many, many, many more people. And I know I've been part of organizations where we said, let's build in Java because it's easier to hire people, right? And so what it's done is basically the level of abstraction, as the level of abstraction started to go up, software development became wider and wider accepted, easier and easier to kind of do for many people. Is that the extent of abstraction? Think again, right? Like as we get to the AI era, we're now talking about explosion of software into where you can just write a few English sentences and generate a whole application, generate all your code from that. And where is that level of abstraction going to take us? Does it mean that developers will now be able to just use, not really need to know too much of programming? Does it mean that product managers will be able to generate applications and build applications? Could we have like CFOs coming in and designing business code? It's quite possible that AI is going to get there. Now the question is, I'll tell you a little secret, right? Like at New Relic this past quarter, we generated about 56,000 lines of AI code. Only 15% of that was accepted. So we're not quite there yet, but we're going to get there, right? We know. This is almost like how people built for mobile back in the day, right? Like we knew that mobile was going to be something that's going to catch on. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Everybody was there. AI is going to be just like that, and it's going to create an explosion in software. I don't know how many of you are aware of the Cambrian explosion, like 500 million years ago, and it created all these different species of flora and fauna out there. AI is going to be just like that. It's going to create a Cambrian explosion out there of software development. What does that mean to us, right? Like that Cambrian explosion of software development is going to land up creating more issues, more problems, more need for observability. And if you look at, we do these surveys every year. We do this, state of observability survey. The state of observability survey shows us that an organization generally has 242 incidents a year, bringing about 77 hours of downtime. That's what it is today. With AI, with all these complex systems, with distribution, with LLMs, with the level of abstraction that's there where we don't really understand what's happening under the hood anymore, this is going to explode. This is going to be really, really big. And it's getting harder. It's getting harder for developers to balance, the innovation and the keeping your business growing with managing these issues and managing these incidents which are actually occurring. What's the solve for all of this? The solve for this comes in intelligent observability. If you look at what observability has done so far, observability is an after-the-fact event, right? Like you get this data, all the data about your system, uptime of your services, it shows you all the metrics, you get these dashboards, all this kind of stuff, but the incident has already occurred. The business impact has already happened. And now you're firefighting to figure out how do I go and fix this stuff. Intelligent observability is going to get in front of the curve. It's going to try and make sure that it's able to predict what's going to happen to your system. It's going to be able to automate a lot of the actions that need to be taken. And it's going to let the system do the work instead of having people needing to kind of step in and get this done. That's the power of intelligent observability. How are we going to do this? So it's three parts, right? In order for intelligent observability to work, as you know, as observability works today, you need all the data, right? You need all the data to be available. And it's not just what observability captures today. If you really look at what observability is capturing today, we capture what we call MELT, metrics, events, logs, and traces. That's what we do all of our monitoring on. What we're talking about here is fundamentally an extension of MELT. It's about bringing in business data. It's about bringing in cloud cost intelligence, for example. And I'll give you an example. I used to work for, I heard the talk about Target earlier. I used to work for Walmart for a number of years before New Relic. And one of the things that we had a problem on was not just infrastructure instability that caused issues, And it was funny that the previous one was on pricing. We had these issues on pricing where somebody set up a wrong price in the system. And you know what happened because they set up the wrong price? You had traffic that hit the system massively because people were all coming in to buy the item that was underpriced. And when that happened, you know, it just brought the system down because we weren't expecting that kind of a traffic, that kind of a load. It was an error which caused it. It's not your infrastructure which needs to get fixed. It's actually a business issue which is actually causing an infrastructure outage. And there's no way that observability is solving that problem today because we don't have that data and we cannot correlate the business issue with the technical outage. And that's what we're trying to solve here by bringing in that intelligent data and creating intelligent insights on top of that data to now say, hey, we've seen a price drop, you know, more than 10% on your site. You need to go fix this. This potentially looks like an error. That's observability too. It's not just that, oh, your system's now gone down, you know, we need to go fix it. It's like telling you, your system is going to go down because something has happened over here. And you cannot do that unless you stitch this data together and build insights on top of it. And on top of that, the alerts which come back to you, which say, hey, here's what you need to do. And you take it one step further to intelligent actions where you say, can the system just go and put the price back to where it is? Like, because we're not sure whether this is the right price update or not, should we just roll it back to where it was earlier? Right? And these are rules which you will set up, right? Like, it's not that the system is just going to go and do some magical things somewhere. Humans will get involved to make sure that this gets set up, but it gets automated completely. So think about the amount of business uptime that you're actually going to save. I'm just giving you one example, but I'm sure you can think of 100, maybe 1,000 other examples where, you know, we've had business outages that are caused due to these issues which are out there. So 3 things you got to remember: intelligent data, the insights on top of it, and the actions that actually go with it, which help you to automate. With this system's not going to be the panacea for all, you know, everything that's out there. Observability interacts with so many different systems, be it CI/CD, be it cloud, be it alerts, security, you know, developer tools, ITSM tools, and observability is not the expert for managing security incidents, and it never will be. But observability needs to interact with those systems that are helping you maintain your security posture within your organization to provide certain crucial pieces of data, and vice versa. And so it really becomes observability sitting in the middle and integrating with all of these and generally being the glue of the system that kind of ties all these different systems together that have the record of data that need to take actions at times as well. If you think of your observability landscape and your infrastructure as a city that has multiple traffic signals, you know, traffic coming in from everywhere, traditional observability and monitoring basically will have a set of cameras. You can think of it as a set of cameras that will tell you, okay, now you've got a choke point at a particular point. What intelligent observability with agentic AI will do is take it to the next level to not only tell you that, but add, you know, agents that can help you manage that traffic so that you don't get into the traffic jam scenario when the traffic starts to become larger at a particular point of time. And that is the difference between agentic observability and traditional observability, which you've seen up to now. We did a couple of integrations, one with GitHub, and I'm very proud of this one that we launched with Microsoft GitHub. It was mainly to try and help GitHub is basically your source control, and then you have your observability systems that are basically now telling you what's going wrong. When these two talk together, things become very powerful because you can tie back an incident or an issue which is actually occurring to an actual code change which has happened, and instruct through agentic AI to say, go back and roll back that piece of code that actually could be the one that's causing this problem. Now, all of this happens even today. We do all of this today. We go back, we look at what changes went in, we go back, we figure out if we need to roll back something, we go back and initiate that rollback. But all of this can be automated. On top of that, all the documentation can be automated. On top of that, all the incident management can be automated. And so what we're doing essentially is freeing up the developers' time to go back and work on the things which are most important to their business, instead of wasting time on mundane activities that potentially these agents can actually take care of. We did another one with ServiceNow, where the Neuralink agents were communicating with the ServiceNow assist to basically address a payment service which breached its SLO, to make sure that the rest of the impact, the cause, the resolution, and all of that is coming from the Neuralink agents which are integrated into the ServiceNow ones. So how did we do all this, right? Like how does this work? It works with the help of an agentic orchestrator. What the agentic orchestrator is doing is tying together different agents, AI agents that are there together, that are experts in their own field. So if you think of it as, I always use the example of a medical system, and if you have a medical system out there, you have somebody in a hospital, and you're somebody who's ill. You've got all these experts who are coming in there. There's a heart expert, there's a brain expert, there's an anesthesiologist. Each one is an expert in their area. And then you just need to make sure that you orchestrate all of these together to have a successful operation or have a successful healthcare that's taken for a patient. It's quite similar to that. Like, you got to make sure that you have the right agents that are doing their jobs, and have this agentic orchestrator that is able to actually sequence and call and pass on information and make sure that all of these are working in a seamless fashion. I want to talk a little bit about predictions. I think this is going to be the next important part of over here. There are three important parts that come to this. Intelligent prioritized decisions, because you need to be able to make sure that these are very prioritized and brought up front. Context switching, because there's so many tools today that you need to go look at and actually tie back data together that it becomes far more complex. With this, you'll be able to bring in better context switching. And in a context for a user, right? Like, that's what RAG tools actually do for you. RAG does for you today, to give you that information and intelligence in the context of what you want. You don't have to go searching for it. So we want to get from observability to really autonomous operations. That's really where we want to go. I'll end over here, and I want to just point you to your chance to win an Apple iPad with our raffle. Please scan the QR code that you see on the screen and do submit the form. And come and meet us at booth 8. We're happy to have more conversations, talk to you about agentic, talk to you about AI, talk to you about all the other stuff that's happening at Neuralink. Thank you very much.
Rohit Ramanath, everybody. Now, first and foremost, who's joining me in noting that what we just saw was insanely cool, right? Yeah. This is why I'm so grateful for the sponsors who make this event possible, that we can all come here and be here together. And today we heard from very impressive innovations from Target, and very impressive new capabilities and observability from New Relic. And of course, we had a very thought-provoking opening keynote from Mr. Scott Davis. Give our opening presenters one more round of applause, everybody. And our day has just gotten started. We have so much more to share with you, and you have so much more to share with us. And with that, I'm going to hand everything back to our beautiful main stage MC, Miss Kate, everybody.
Thank you, Michael. We are now going to break for that coffee break. Get a chance to stretch your legs, do some networking, get refreshed and ready to start the day. So the next session is that we're running a little ahead of schedule, which is great. You'll have a little extra time for some caffeination. Next sessions will start at 11 o'clock. Please be back to your chosen hall on time. While you're stretching your legs, don't forget to post your summit highlights using the hashtags #GIDS and #DeveloperSummit. Participate in our social media contest and stand a chance to win exciting GIDS goodies. Step 1, follow GIDS on LinkedIn. Step 2, share your insights, your photos, your takeaways using the hashtag #GIDS and #DeveloperSummit. For more information, refer to page 3 of your guide. Let's spread the energy. We'd love to feature you in a short 1-minute video as well. Share something that you've learned, an idea, or a memorable moment from the summit. If you're interested, please visit the help desk near the main entrance. Your insights could inspire fellow engineers and may even be showcased on our social platforms. We also greatly value your feedback, so please take a moment to scan the QR code on page 3 of your printed guide to rate your sessions after the sessions. See you back here at 11 o'clock. Hey, how's it going, friends?
No, sir, because I think I had connected to his computer and I didn't find it.
Sir, you have